Hi everyone, so it's been 3 days since the match results came out this year. Congratulations to everybody that has matched, but this video I wanted to make specifically for my folks that are going into phase 2. I know it's like a devastating time. I definitely prepared myself to go into phase 2 because I know how the statistics are and great people don't match every year. So it's not you, it's a whole numbers game. And don't let that keep you down because you need to start writing your letters of intent and applying to phase 2 because the application's open tomorrow. Wish I would have made this sooner, but I hope this video is a sign for you to not give up because this is still possible. Phase 2 can still happen. I think during times when I'm down and I feel like, you know, I'm just not meeting my own expectations, I tend to shut down and shut people out in my life. But this is actually a really important time for you to reach out to your support system. It's also a time to reach out to loved ones to motivate you to go into phase 2. Reach out to your friends that did match, have them help. Like I'm reaching out to my friends that didn't match. I want to help out. Okay, so let's go into statistics. The number of applicants that applied this year was 5,895 applicants. That's actually less than last year, which is 5,908 applicants. So the people who matched, there was a 63% with 3,704 applicants that matched, which means 37% of applicants that applied this year didn't match. That's over 1/3 of the applicants. Just 3 people in a room and 1 person wouldn't match. It's likely not you. It's a whole numbers game. There's just not enough positions available. Something that I want to bring to light too is that though there was less applicants this year, numbers of programs that were ranked by applicants were increased by over 1,000. 26,884 programs were ranked this year, which is an average of 5.4 programs an applicant, versus last year was 25,165, which is an average of 4.3 programs per applicant. Even though that there's more applicants that applied last year, more applicants applied to more programs and also ranked more programs this year compared to last year. These are all PGY1 statistics. PGY1 programs available overall are 282 programs that were unmatched, which was more than last year, which is 243 programs that were unmatched. And I looked at the program list for phase 2 and there's actually a lot of good programs on that list. Definitely programs that I did consider even applying to. I just didn't because of my areas of interest. Knew that the program wasn't gonna give me everything that I wanted. So definitely think there's still good programs on that list to apply to. But what I wanna bring to light too is don't apply to just big name programs. During phase 2, it's more competitive than phase 1. So everybody's gonna be applying to that big name program, the one that looks more familiar. Look into the smaller programs. Community hospitals and smaller programs actually offer a lot more than you think. For me personally, I interned at a community hospital and I really love the vibe there. It was like a family. So I would highly recommend to look into that route. Total positions in general this year that were available for residents was 4,023 positions. Even if every applicant matched and every program spot was filled, that's still 68% chance of you matching. So don't think that it's you, it's a total numbers game. And who knows, you could have been the next person on the list, but that's not how you feel right now, right? You're just kind of like, I didn't match, what do I do? Am I even worthy to even do residency? Maybe it's not meant for me. I've seen great applicants not match previous years and this year too. Some of my classmates I know that are really hardworking individuals, put a lot into the things that they're involved in and they didn't match. So it's devastating to see that and I just wanted to help you guys. Phase 2 opens tomorrow, like tomorrow morning. So if you haven't started on your letters of intent, do it now, like ASAP. This round, there's way more applicants applying to fewer spots. Programs are gonna be getting a lot more applicants this round than the first phase. There's still a lot of programs available and I looked at the list, there's actually really good programs on there, even programs I considered applying to. And I've known people who went into phase 2 that matched this round to a PGY2. So don't think that because you're gonna go into phase 2 that you won't end up somewhere good. So during phase 1, there's a deadline to submit applications and some programs I think look at it on a rolling basis. Some maybe wait until all the applications come in. But I think what I would have even done if I went back on phase 1 is apply way farther away from the deadline. Some programs I did apply early. I think the sooner you apply, the more likely of a chance your application will get looked at, because this year, it was definitely the most competitive year. Programs I knew about, they got like 70% more applications they have in the past. The programs that didn't invite me to interview, every single one of them said that this is the most competitive year and they've received the most applicants they had this year. Usually, typically I hear that programs will interview about 5 applicants per position, but think about it this time, most of the time programs will only have 1 position open and they're going to be getting flooded with applications. So that's many applications for 1 position. So the way I'm giving my friends advice during phase 2 is, if you didn't get interviews, the first thing you should look into are your letters of intent and your letters of recommendation. With your CV, GPA, those things you can't change. Like, that's just kind of a given right now. So think about in terms of your letters of rec. If you really think about it, you can have a sense of idea in your head and heart if they highly recommended you. I don't know how programs look at it. Maybe it's suspicious that they all have highly recommended. Maybe programs don't like it if you have 1 just recommended. I had 4 letter writers, all written from rotations, and I kind of like alternated based on what the program's looking for and things. But I think if I went into phase 2, I would have used the letters that I knew for certain that they would have put highly recommended. And then for your letters of intent, it's very big on making sure that your letter of intent isn't general, that it's very specific to the program. What I'm thinking is during this round especially, programs will be looking at the letters of intent. For the most part, there's no really prior interaction. Probably didn't talk to this program during mid-year, and they really want to see if applicants are really suited and will be a good fit for this program. Really focus on the letter of intent, but it's definitely also crunch time too. Right now it's just kind of like first come first serve in a way, where however many applicants they want to look at, maybe they'll start getting overwhelmed and they'll stop looking at a certain amount. They'll look at this set of amount. I'm not really sure what goes behind the scenes on phase 2, but I would think that getting your application in, the sooner the better, the more likelihood of them looking at your application. Let's say first phase 1, you actually got interviews. I would say if you got more than half of the interviews you applied for, then your letter writing and your letters of rec are probably good, and probably focus more on your interviewing skills. Just know that if you get an interview, your foot is already in the door. You got the interview, and after that, your application doesn't matter from here for the most part. It's mostly about your interview. Make sure you hone in on what the program has to offer, but also what you can offer to the program as well. Are you going to be a good person to work with? Are you motivated? Motivation is so big. They say residency is one of the hardest years in your career, and it's so important to stay motivated during this time. Definitely show that you're a person, you have a life outside of pharmacy, and you know what to do to de-stress as well. Yes, in terms of situational based questions, think about 1 or 2 stories where you had multiple things that you had to do. Like maybe a time where you were a leader was a time that there was a conflict. But always make sure you never ever talk down on anybody during the interview. Nothing about someone you work with, not about any prior work history, any type of conflict, that you look outside of the negative route and try to find a good solution out of it. Think about it as you would as a friend. If somebody's gossiping to you about somebody, then they're probably gonna do that to you too. I feel like it's kind of common sense, but maybe they're not realizing it when they're applying, that if you're interested in peds and the program doesn't offer a pediatrics rotation, you shouldn't mention that in the interview. You probably shouldn't be applying to that program. Focus very well on who you're talking to. If it's an inpatient pharmacist and your passion is AmCare, I wouldn't focus too much on the AmCare side of it. I think that's something that I realized during one of my interviews too. I did mention that I wanted a well-rounded program, so both inpatient, outpatient. I want to go somewhere that's gonna teach me to thrive in any practice environment. So I did mention that along the way. So definitely have questions. I think it's probably worse to not have any questions. Questions you can ask is, what qualities are you looking for in a resident? What adjectives would you use to describe your program? Is there anything that your program's currently working on from feedback from the previous residency class? Can you tell me about a time where a resident was struggling and what did you do to help them? If my interest changes throughout residency, is it possible for me to switch rotations and electives later on, like in the spring during residency? Because even though this is phase 2, this is still an interview for them too. After every interview, send a thank you email. I don't think that's gonna make somebody rank you higher or not, but I think it's still just a good thing to do. Let them know that you're strongly interested in their program after the interview. Maybe make some notes on what you liked about the interview. And when it comes down to ranking, if the vibes were okay with the program, not the best, think about it this way. Would you rather not do a residency at all or just do a year with the program? But if it's definitely a situation where you were like, okay, no, like I got really bad vibes. I feel like that's definitely a thing that you should think about if you should rank or not. The link will be down below for the programs that are going into phase 2, the statistics I was reading off. But at this point, don't even worry about the stats. Not everybody that didn't match is gonna go into phase 2. So don't even worry about it. Just think about yourself. What can I work on? What can I do better? I would also highly recommend, especially if you didn't apply to more than 4 programs last round, apply to more programs. I probably would have applied to more programs phase 2 than phase 1, just because your odds are a lot less. And I know it's a lot of money. Try to make it work, because at first I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to spend this much money on residency applications. But think about it this way. You would have had to fly to interview and pay for hotels. It would have cost a lot more, and a couple extra $100 is worth it for the rest of your career. All right, guys, I'm gonna end this video quickly because my camera's getting hot. It's also 10 o'clock and I need to wake up at 5. Good luck. You got this. Everything will turn out how it's supposed to. I hope this helps just a little bit. Follow me on Instagram, OHAIMIMI. Leave comments down below. Any type of video requests. I'm gonna try to actually jump on this before residency starts, because yeah, I'm probably gonna go MIA during residency. All right, guys, good night. See you next time.